in that shooting, and all of a sudden there begins to be chaos, and what I call chaos in the soul. You begin to doubt and question what's going on. What I want to do is I want to try to break this down just a little bit for us, so where this text comes from. Paul wrote this amazing letter to the church of Thessalonica from a prison. The church at Thessalonica was very interesting. It was full of young people. It was full of young believers. It was full of people that all of a sudden said, I think I know what I'm doing. No, I don't know what I'm doing. I think I'm supposed to be doing this, but I'm not sure, so I'm going to go do this. And I think it was full of a bunch of young believers that they thought they were doing right, but then they would stop and they had a question, and they went back and forth and back and forth. And Paul had planted this church, and now Paul had found himself away. He found himself in prison. And he was writing this letter to this church to say, listen, here's how you should be approaching life. Listen, here's what you should be doing. Here are my instructions to you. See, we're down with all that. We can track it. That's how we've been traditionally taught to learn. But what I want to show you this morning is this cycle. I believe it's a cycle. It's like a practical living cycle that Paul gives at the very end of chapter 16. Be joyful, pray continually, give thanks. Be joyful, pray continually, give thanks. You see the cycle. Joy, prayer, thanks. Joy, prayer, thanks. I want to argue this morning that it's almost impossible to start this cycle anywhere but the beginning. You can't be thankful without understanding the essence of joy. You can't be an effective prayer without understanding what it means to have joy. You can't be a thankful person until you understand prayer. I don't think it's a coincidence that Paul gave us this order of joy, prayer, and thanks. Joy, prayer, and thanks. What do I mean by that? I want to do a case study this morning. The first point I want you to see this morning is this concept of joy. Be joyful. Paul is writing this church of Thessalonica, and he should not be using the words joy. He was writing this church from a prison. A lot of you know the story of Paul. He was a rebel. He was a renegade. He didn't care what people thought. He did what he wanted to do. He was led by the Spirit, and he found himself in prison and stoned more than any of us ever will in our life. Every time he did something he thought he was supposed to do, the church, the people would take him out and stone him and say, don't come back here. And he would go on and plant another church and go about his business and do what Paul does best, which is speak the truth. So he's telling this young church, hey, I want you to be like me. Okay, sweet, thanks. Because, hey, like me, just ignore the fact that I'm sitting in prison right now. Just ignore the fact that I am bruised on the outside from the stones that have come upon my head when speaking truth and love. He doesn't say just ignore it. He says embrace it. Embrace it. Be joyful always. My son's in here this morning. I thought I'd give a case study with him. Here's the best way I can explain this passage to you. Have you ever, and some of you that don't have young kids will have to think back, and I apologize about that, but there's a lot of children here this morning. In the book of Thessalonians, if you go back and study this on your own, every chapter ends with a vision of Jesus returning. Every chapter ends with a vision of Jesus returning. You know what that's called? That's called hope. That's called joy. That's called there's something bigger coming. When I first came to this church, I used to drive people crazy. I used to have this saying. The saying goes like this. At least we have heaven. I'll see you in heaven. At least heaven is coming. And I began to get people say, you know what, dude? That statement drives me crazy. Because people used to say, I'm not dealing with the situation in front of me. I'm avoiding the pain, and I'm escaping the issues, and all these things came about. Which I'm not lying. There might be some of that there. But in my mind, you know what I was able to do? No matter what I face on this earth, because I'm a child of God, I could go, this life stinks. Everything's bad. Oh, Jesus is coming back. I'm broke. My wife is frustrated with me. My kids are gone. I don't even know what. At least Jesus is coming back. And I'm a child of God. Leading up to this passage where Paul tells this young church, listen, you don't understand everything going on. Listen, you're going to mess up. Listen, I know it's hard. You're sinful. You have sin on the inside. You're not going to get it right. But don't forget this. Jesus is coming back. Amen? Amen. Church, I want you to know something. Jesus is coming back. It's called the imminent return of Christ. You know what that means? It's not a choice. It's not an option. It's going to happen. Do I know when it's going to happen? No. Does anybody know when it's going to happen except for God himself? No. Don't be deceived. Don't be fooled. Nobody knows the time when it's going to happen. Right now you're sitting here, I don't know what you're facing. I can imagine you're carrying yokes and burdens like you cannot carry. You don't know how you're going to face tomorrow, and I don't know how you're going to face tomorrow. I can give you a Sunday school answer. I can't. But here's how I face tomorrow. I know that God will give me what I need tomorrow to get through what I need tomorrow. And I'm going to live tomorrow looking up to the sky and looking out in front of me because I know Jesus is coming. That's what he was telling this church in Thessalonica. Every chapter in this book ends with that. And then he goes into this concept of joy. Let me tell you, my son sometimes has an amazing ability to push buttons. Anybody's children push your buttons? Alright? I know. It's amazing. What I've learned to do, which is probably bad parenting, I'll be the first to confess, is that if my son is having a bad day, or a bad afternoon, or a bad night, and a bad morning, okay, it's been like 16 hours of bad, and it's my turn to put him to bed, and he is like frustrated and angry, he does not want to go to bed, and he's pouting, kicking and screaming, this and that. I've learned this. I learned that if I put my arm around him and I say, Bob, listen, I know you don't want to go to bed. I didn't like bed either. It's boring. It's dark. You have no friends here. I know. But listen, tomorrow, we're going to the park. And it's going to be awesome. And Bob, I need you to get some sleep. Because let me tell you, tomorrow morning, we're going to have the time of our life. We're going to play basketball, and we're going to play soccer, and we're going to find two little kids in the park, and we're going to play 2-on-2 with them, and we're going to try to beat them. It's going to be awesome. And Bob, I need you to get some sleep. Because I need you to help me. I need you to be in my team. All of a sudden, I see him look at me. And he goes, I think I'm ready to go to bed. I think I'm ready to get some sleep. Why? Not because I'm a good parent. Bad parenting. I'll be the first to confess. Don't model that for a second. Try to understand the point. I think that's what Paul's doing in this church at Thessalonica. He's going, I know you don't want to do this anymore. I know you don't want to run this race. I know you're tired. I know you don't know why people are coming against you. I know you don't want to give your money to the church anymore. I know you don't want to do this, but let me tell you, this is going to be awesome. Tomorrow, Jesus